Hello, hello. November 29th weekly update. I'm outside at my sister's spot right now. Go figure. Um, Highlight of this week, really, really nothing special, honestly. It was a pretty straightforward week. It was a very straightforward week. I really didn't do anything distinctly different. Um, I did a lot of writing on Sunday. That was nice because I didn't work on Sunday. Um, I went to the mic Sunday night, and then I went to another mic Monday. I didn't do too well on Monday though. Honestly, it was actually kind of bad. Like it just, I learned actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, there was this one really pretty girl in the audience, and I was sitting behind her, and we just kept, looking at one another. Like I would look at her, she would look at me. She was really pretty. I would smile at her, she would smile at me, you know, and eventually I walked over to her and I just tapped her on the shoulder. I'm just like, "Hey, you're really pretty." She's like, "Thank you." And she said, "Yeah, no worries." And then that was it. Um, I'm not gonna lie. There was a part of me that was just like, I wonder if I can go on stage and like make her laugh and then like talk to her afterward and see if like something can come of that, right? Like maybe I can get her number and like ask her out or something. Like that was honestly what was on my mind. Um, but then I get on stage and uh it didn't happen like that at all. That didn't happen at all. Um, I think I don't know. I got on stage and it was like it was weird. It was weird. There was like this weirdness when I got on stage. Like my guess is that because the half the audience was basically that girl and like three of her friends, right? There were some other people on the other side of the audience as well, but because I was sitting in the audience, my guess is that like the audience knew who I was, right? Because they saw me sitting in the audience, and then I get on stage, right? I usually like to sit in the audience and watch other comedians because I like to be a part of the experience of comedy. For other comedians, it makes me, I want to be a part of the audience because I enjoy comedy. I like comedy, and so but this was like the first time where sitting in the audience, I think, was actually to my detriment because then I get up there and I think people like were kind of like half startled slash half realizing like, oh, he was sitting in the audience this whole time. And he was a comic, and like now he's on stage, now he's doing the jokes. And then there was that girl, and then all her friends, because then one of her friends turned around and looked at me after I told her that she was pretty, and so like they were aware of who I was. So then there was like this pre-context, right? Of like, oh, like this guy said something to us before he went on stage, and now he's on stage, and now he's trying to make us laugh. So it's like, it just introduced some weird uncertainty to the mixture, right? And so I guess that's the real big distinction though, is that like this was also the first time that I had ever, you know, told a girl that I thought she was pretty before going on stage. I've gone on stage and I've seen a pretty girl and I've said to her while I was on stage that she was pretty, but I never did it beforehand, right? So it's different. It's different, right? Because there's this interaction that is framing me being on stage because I'm no longer just a stranger, right? I'm the guy who told her that she was pretty. It's different. It's different because that's the only thing I can think of is like why the audience felt different. It's weird. It's hard to explain. If I were to explain this to a comedian, they would understand. Like you can feel the vibe of the room when you get on stage. Sometimes people are really open and they're receptive and they're having fun and they're loose and you can just go up there and just talk to them and they'll laugh at anything you say. Sometimes people are like kind of like talking amongst each other. They're on their phone and you gotta corral them. You gotta get a little loud, not yelling, but loud to get their attention and just talk to them and like call them out, not to like single them out or anything, but to be like, hey man, how's it going? Or like, hey miss, what are you up to? What's on your phone? What's on your phone is more interesting than me right now. Play with them. Play with them. Get them off their phones in a silly, pleasant way. Get them out of their little inter conversations to get them focused on you. And then once you get all of them focused on you, then you're like, all right, cool. Then you go into your material, right? That's the social game that you got to play when you're on stage as a comedian. And so, yeah, like you can feel the vibe of the audience when you get on stage. And then sometimes it's just a completely dead audience, right? Like they're there because they have nowhere else to be, right? Sometimes you have like the occasional homeless guy who just wanted to come inside and like he got like a coat. So the staff's like, all right, cool. You can come in because we've seen you a number of times and you're cool. Like, here's your coat. Just go sit down and that's it. And sometimes that happens too. So yeah, I get on stage and the audience just feels weird. There's like this weirdness in the room. I think that's the reason why, because I hit on that girl, and proceeded to do my jokes. They didn't work. They didn't work. They didn't work at all, which kind of sucked. And then one of the friends of that girl, um, she she was like she would mutter things throughout the night to other comics on stuff. And so she muttered again when I was on stage. And so uh, because she was muttering, I made fun of her, honestly. She said that she used to be a teacher. So then I don't remember exactly what I said. It was something like I can see why you're not a teacher anymore. You're interrupting my set. Clearly you wouldn't be a very good teacher if you interrupted your students or something like that. But I definitely remember saying, I can see why you're not a teacher anymore. You know, and when I said that, uh, the pretty girl and her friend next to her were just like, you know, and I got a laugh. I got a laugh from some people in the audience. Um, I think it was some of the comics in the back, but there were definitely some people on the audience to the right. So I got a laugh off of that. Uh, and and then she's like, I don't do teaching anymore. I'm like, yeah, I can see why. Um, I don't have any kids, but if I did, I'd be happy they weren't being taught by you, right? And then that was another just like the pretty girl and her friend were just like, again. So I thought it was funny. Um, but uh, I feel a little bad about it too, because it's like I don't know what the situation was for that girl, but clearly my jokes affected her because like afterward they were like consoling her a little bit, and like talking to her and like just raising her spirits. Um, and I was like, really? Like, oh, come on. I'm not trying to what? I'm not trying to be unintentionally malicious. Like I'm not trying to be mean for the sake of being mean. But also she was mumbling and muttering, right? And this is the hard part with like doing comedy, right? Is because like there's other people there and they are actual real people with lives and everything. It's like it's really easy to make fun of other people when they interrupt your set. And I mean my set wasn't going very well, right? So it's like there was definitely a defensiveness I had as well of like trying to do something, trying to get something to work, right? Because my jokes weren't working because of the things that happened beforehand. And then there's this girl who's muttering, so I'm not doing well, so I'm gonna make fun of her because she's interrupting me while I'm bombing, and maybe that'll get a laugh. And it did. So then I kept going, But then also it turns out that continuing to go with a girl who's emotionally unstable or emotionally hurt or something. I don't know what the story was. Like I left right after I got off the stage. Um, is that like, yeah, you know, I don't want to be a dick for no reason. I don't want to do that. Right. So yeah, that was on Monday, and I don't really know what came of all that, honestly. I didn't go to any mics on Tuesday. Wednesday was my day off, and I got some kind of bug or something. Maybe it was just a temperature change. These last few days, like my nose was a little stuffy. I didn't have a fever or anything. I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel right. I got something. I think it was a burger that I ate on Tuesday night. Um, and then Thursday was Thanksgiving. I worked all day. Friday was yesterday. Friday was just another day at work. It was slow comparatively speaking for a Friday, but it was also the day after Thanksgiving, so maybe not a lot of people wanted to go out. Um, but I mean, that's basically everything. Is that Monday I had that whole thing happen with that girl. Um, didn't do well, bombed. I'd say I bombed. Like none of my jokes landed. And it's probably my fault for interacting with the crowd before I got on stage. Um, and then hurting that girl's feelings. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But that's the thing, though. That's the thing is that like that's the hard thing about comedy. Is that you don't really know where the line is on going too far until you've crossed it, right? You don't know what the wrong thing is to say until you've already said it, right? And so Dave Chappelle has a really good line on this, where I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. I don't remember exactly it word for word, but he basically says that it's like something to the effect of he's talking to the audience and he's talking to them and he's saying, you guys got to understand, it's my job to push the line. Like it's my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to push the line of what is acceptable, right? Like that's what you guys are paying me to do, right? And at the same time, like, yeah, I don't want to be a dick just to be a dick to a person, to a lady in the audience. Um, but then I was definitely one on Monday to this girl at that time in her emotional state, because I was bombing, because she was responding to what I was saying, or she was muttering to what I was saying in the middle of my set. And here we are, you know? So I don't know. That's just that's just how comedy works out sometimes. That's just how it works out sometimes, and it sucks. You know, you can't you can't control every variable. You can't say the right thing every single time. Um, it is what it is. So, oh well. But that's basically it. You know, um, I already said the rest of my week. Gonna take care of some stuff today. I did write some new material on that Sunday. I haven't gotten to it yet because I did the one set Sunday. I did the one set Monday. Um, and then I was off Wednesday, Thursday. I worked all night, all day, and yeah, whatever. So, but I do got new material that I want to try out to add on to the material that I got working right now. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. So, um, hopefully this next week, I'll definitely be able to get back to it. With things kind of slowing down because of the passing of Thanksgiving. So, thank you very much for watching. Whoever watches these, like and subscribe if you are inclined to do so. And as always, God bless.